Okay, so um, we're gonna have a talk about the markets, and I'll tell you what I'm doing behind the scenes. So for the next 3 months, leading into Christmas and New Year, I'm doing the 1 million challenge. So it's 3 months. Um, so what we're going to do is we're going to build everyone's portfolios from you know a few $1,000s, ideally $10,000 if you've got that in your trading account, but we can work with less. Um, so we're going to build those up, and we're going to get to a value of $1 million. Okay, so we're going to do that over 3 months, and all of that's going to be in Telegram. So if you go onto Telegram and basically spell Mr. Million backwards, that's my Telegram handle. If you want to join, you're very welcome. Um, Probably going to stop joiners in about, I don't know, 7, 10 days, something like that. Um, so look, if you want to change your life, if you want to, you know, make some serious money, and if you want my, full attention, if you want all my help, if you followed this channel for a long time, not really got anywhere, not really made money yourself, whatever, come and join. We will, we will get there as a team. Um, and yeah, so there is a cost. It's 1 ETH. There is a lot of costs involved in this sort of stuff. And also you're paying for my attention, my help over the next 3 months. And yeah, let's do it. So I'm going to start today's video with Dogecoin, and I want to show you a fractal overlay for Dogecoin because there seems to be a lot of hype with a lot of so-called gurus on Twitter who seem to be putting a lot of money into Dogecoin, and I'm not convinced. So look, this is what I've done. So this is the fractal overlay of the XRP price, and what I'll do is I'll take that again so you can see that obviously I'm not telling porcupines or anything like that. But yeah, essentially this is the entire XRP price. What I'll do is I'll copy that fractal. We'll go over to Dodge. We'll get rid of that. We'll paste it back on. Okay. So look, this is going to be condensed down, and you'll be quite amazed with how ridiculous this fits. I don't think anybody has seen this, to be quite honest. But anyway, look. So that's what we've got to look at, and we can zoom in a little bit more. It's not going to be perfect, but it's there or thereabouts, and that's scary. So look, if you have a look at this price action here, obviously this price action here correlates. We've got even this pause moment here, which is obviously a wave 4. And then everything else is more or less to a T. So what happens after that? Well, I mean, we do actually get a drop. So we get quite a significant drop. And it's quite obvious that this is some sort of pennant, formation on a higher time frame, which is the weekly. And if you followed XRP, you will know that the time period waiting for all of this was from 2017, 2018 to not so long ago when it finally started to move up. And I think Dogecoin is going to be doing the same thing. So what can we expect? Well, I'm pretty sure that this is developing into an ABCDE pattern, which is very similar to what happened with XRP. We can cross-reference that with XRP. So this kind of type of structure is 1, 2, 3, 4 touches, and then the fifth is a breakout with a pennant. Okay. And if we go back to Dodge, we've got 1, 2, 3. Where's the fourth touch? And then the fifth touch is a breakout. So the fourth touch, in my opinion, is going to be down here, which also correlates with the fractal overlay of XRP, which it has followed, I'm going to say, pretty precisely, to be quite honest, ever since, well, forever. We you can't lay this over and then think, well, it doesn't match. It does match. It's, if it's followed it for this long, well, the next move is down. So that's concerning for people that I know are in Dogecoin. And something to bear in mind with, because if Dogecoin is going to go down quite considerably, I mean, that's probably a 60% move to the downside. Yeah, more or less bang on, 60%. Yeah, we're looking at like 10 cents, 10 cents for Dogecoin. Now, I do have trades that are ready. They're not active yet, but they are ready for the $1 million challenge. I'm expecting that the end of the month and the first week of October is when everything's going to start, going live with trades, etc., and making serious money. But I'm not going to give too much away just yet. I'd rather, obviously you're going to come and join over in Telegram and we get going that way. It's in your best interest and mine. So without further ado, let's have a look at Bitcoin and see if I can correlate anything that might cause a drop in Dodge, which would obviously, flow into the rest of the market. And whether that means it's doom and gloom or whether that is just your final buying opportunity, much in the same way as this fractal is, showing us that actually this was a buying opportunity for XRP before boom, which that's a 500% move. So with Bitcoin, I think that let's go on a daily. I think that this area here in the green was, the accumulation zone. Before the next accumulation zone was around sort of 110, 115, somewhere like that. I mean, most people that have accumulated in the past several months are underwater now. So there was a bit of selling down here, like panic selling. I don't think it was enough though. But yeah, look where the price was here. We had to come back through what previously was support for some time, turn to resistance. We had to battle through that, for a week or two. But yeah, I honestly think that we're going to come back down here and test that. So I think 94,000, something like that, which would be, a good 20% move. So if that's the case, what do I think is going to happen after that? Well, I think we've got two options at that point. I think we've got, in fact, no, we'll do a different one. What are we going to do? I think there's two options. I think if we, somewhere around here, we're going to start falling. Okay, where that is, I'm not entirely sure. I've got a feeling that this may be taken out, but it may not. I think that somewhere around here in this yellow box is where we're coming. And then we've got two options. One is that we float around here, maybe do a little retrace to around this zone here, 109, 107, something like that. And then it's, huge crash to the downside, which would be early 2026. The other option is that we do something like this, is that we come down, we grab all the liquidity here, we get some panic sells, etc. and then we come up and we do our final kind of excessive move to the upside, and we come to sort of 140, 145, something like that. And then moving into the new year, that's when recession hits, etc., and that's really when we're going to be going down quite hard. But there are only two options, okay? Both options end in downside, as you can quite clearly see. So, macroeconomics suggests obviously that we're going to be going into a recession, if not probably already are in a recession. I think that early next year, it's the shit's going to hit the fan, in my opinion. As an economist, that is my job to see that kind of stuff. I do think that we've got a bit of a band-aid on at the minute. So having a look at that, cross-referencing that with Dodge, XRP, etc. That would be my that would be my forecast. So yeah, not really looking for shorts as of yet, because I am worried that we might get this move to the upside. Let's see what happens there. But definitely, I am interested in this area here, 90,000. Having a look at ETH. See, the problem I have with ETH is that this move is extremely extended, and if I were a betting man, which most of the time I am, I would be saying that this area here, around about 3,000, 3,300, something like that, would be the area of significance. There is another potential that is just here, so 2,200. Now that's a little bit less likely, but if we're going to get a 20% move to the downside in XRP, Bitcoin, I can quite easily see it retesting 3,000. I know there's a lot of liquidity there. I know there's a lot of people will get hurt if it goes down there. So, yeah, I think it's a good chance. If we get a liquidation cascade, then yeah, it's quite possible that we could go to low 2000s. With the fib retracement, where would that take us to? I mean, bang on into the golden pocket there. So, I mean, somewhere around there. So, I wouldn't discount that at all, guys. I really wouldn't. Going back to Dogecoin, if ETH starts falling down, is that what we need? Is that going to give us this big look? This is what we're waiting for, really, is this huge move to the downside, which 50% move, and that is over a couple of weeks. So yeah, look, if you want to finally make it, if you want to make some really good money, working with me, with the team that's around me, with all of the indicators and everything that I've got at my disposal, speak to me on Telegram. I'll tell you how you can join, and let's make some money. Cheers, guys.